The king who died from his own crown. Imagine this, a monarch, powerful and proud, standing before his people, crowned in gold and jewels. That crown should have been the ultimate symbol of authority, the proof that God himself had chosen him to rule. But for one king, that crown was no blessing. It was a curse. It didn't bring him glory, it brought him death. This is the strange and haunting story of the king who died from his own crown. The year was 1109. In the kingdom of Hungary, a boy was born into royalty. His name was Béla, and from the moment he entered the world, he was marked by destiny, and by tragedy. Hungary at the time was a land of conflict. Powerful nobles vied for influence, the church sought control, and rival claimants to the throne plotted against one another. A prince was not just a child, he was a potential weapon, or a threat to be eliminated. Béla learned this lesson too early. According to medieval chronicles, enemies feared his claim to the throne so much that when he was still a child, his eyes were gouged out. He would live his life in total darkness. From that day forward, he was called Béla the Blind. But blindness did not end his story. Against all odds, he survived the intrigue, the shifting alliances, and the endless battles for power. And in 1131, Béla became king of Hungary. A blind king wearing a crown he could not see. But he would feel its weight more than any ruler before him. To understand how a crown could kill a man, we have to look at what crowns meant in the Middle Ages. These were not lightweight ornaments. They were massive constructions of gold and iron, studded with gems and relics. A crown was not meant for comfort. It was meant for spectacle, a visible sign of God's authority resting upon a king's head. Hungary's crown was no ordinary crown. Known as the Holy Crown of Saint Stephen, it was a patchwork of Byzantine and Western design. Uneven, tilted, and heavy, it was as much a relic as it was regalia. It was sacred, so sacred that without it, a king was not considered truly legitimate. But with its holiness came danger. The crown was awkwardly shaped, poorly balanced, and crushingly heavy. Wearing it for long ceremonies meant hours of strain. And for Béla, already weakened by blindness, political stress, and fragile health, it became a burden he could not escape. Some whispered the crown was cursed. Others said it was simply too heavy for a frail king to bear. Whatever the truth, every time Béla wore it, it brought him closer to his end. As Béla's reign continued, the whispers grew. His health faltered. He appeared weak and pale after ceremonies. Courtiers noticed his trembling hands, his shallow breathing, the way his head bowed too heavily under the crown's pressure. In an age of superstition, people saw divine judgment. They believed that if a king was unworthy, the crown itself could destroy him. And for Béla, every public appearance seemed to confirm it. What they did not know was that medieval medicine was a death sentence in itself. Even a small wound could fester and kill. If the crown rubbed his skin raw, infection could set in. If its weight pressed on him too long, exhaustion could overwhelm his body. And then, one day, the crown's burden became too much. The year was 1141. Béla II, blind and frail, entered what should have been a routine ceremony. The crown, as always, was placed on his head. The hall was filled with courtiers, priests, and nobles. All eyes were on the king. But something was wrong. Witnesses said he seemed pale, his body trembling under the crown's weight. Time dragged on. His face grew ashen. His strength failed. And then, before his court, Béla collapsed. The king of Hungary, not struck by a blade, not felled by poison, but undone by the golden crown meant to declare his divinity, lay dying. Some said the crown had caused fatal infection. Others claimed the sheer weight of the thing crushed him during the ceremony. Whatever the cause, Béla never rose again. He was just 34 years old. And the people of Hungary believed what seemed undeniable: their king had been killed by his own crown. The kingdom was thrown into turmoil. Béla's widow, Queen Helena, rushed to secure the throne for their son, Geza. But the whispers could not be silenced. To the common people, the king's death was proof of divine wrath. Some said the crown was cursed, its crooked shape a sign of God's displeasure. Others believed Béla's blindness had made him unfit to rule, and that the crown itself had judged him. Even among nobles, fear lingered. Was Hungary's sacred crown dangerous to wear? Would it claim the lives of future kings? Historians today argue Béla likely died of illness, worsened by stress and ceremony. But to his contemporaries, fact didn't matter. The story was far more powerful than the truth, a king destroyed by the symbol of kingship itself. Béla II is remembered not for his conquests, his politics, or his governance. He is remembered for his death. The crown he wore, the holy crown of Saint Stephen, remains one of Hungary's greatest treasures. It still exists, carefully preserved, displayed with pride. But its story is forever tied to the blind king who could not survive its weight. Think about the symbolism. A ruler destroyed by the very emblem of his authority. A crown that did not elevate him, but crushed him. It is a story that echoes across centuries, because it contains a truth we all understand: power is heavy. And sometimes, it destroys those who carry it. Béla II of Hungary was blinded as a boy, rose to power against all odds, and ruled a kingdom he could not see. But in the end, it was not his enemies who killed him. It was not war or betrayal. It was his own crown. The crown was meant to prove his divine right to rule, instead, it became his executioner. And so he remains in memory as the king who died from his own crown, a chilling reminder that the very symbols of greatness can carry within them the seeds of ruin.